to Heavy Bag Heroes. It's good to be back. Wi-Fi is working. The internet is working. No more technical issues with the microphone. Think we've got it figured out. Hopefully we'll get back to a regularly scheduled program. Man, I'm pumped for this weekend. UFC 319. Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. It's going to be a banger. I don't know why I'm so excited about it. If you told me a year ago that this was going to be a middleweight title fight, I would have lost my mind and been like, I'm done with the UFC. Mostly because I truly was just like, how is DDP continuing to rise to the top? I don't get it. He just looks so goofy. There's literally a YouTube video of called Dricus du Plessis Goofy Moments in the UFC, and it's almost like 6 minutes long, which is just hilarious to me. But we'll just go ahead and get into it. I am actually really up on DDP right now. After his last fight with Sean Strickland, I just remember vividly thinking when I was watching that fight, holy cow, he has gotten so much better. And even his fight with Israel Adesanya, I didn't think that initially, but when he fought Sean Strickland the second time, I truly was like, dang, he is actually tremendously improved from where he was. Because when you watch him in his earlier fights, he just looks so goofy. He's so goofy, and it's just like he's literally tripped his way into the championship. And I actually recorded an entire podcast last night. Didn't like it because I was just kind of sounded like an idiot. No, I just couldn't pronounce a lot of the UFC fighters' names, so I'm not going to do that tonight. But one of the things I said in that was like, if you've ever played Fallout, you can increase your different character attributes like strength, skill, stamina, and luck. And I was like, DDP is maxed out on strength and he's maxed out on luck, and that just makes for a hilariously awesome fighter. And so I'm actually really excited for DDP versus Khamzat. I think it's going to be a really good fight. I think you could predict this going a million different ways, to be honest. I think most people lean towards the Khamzat first round finish. But I was watching Khamzat versus Usman today, and I don't think that will necessarily be the case, because I think, one, DDP is strong enough for the wrestling. I think he's strong enough for the grappling, and I think he's knowledgeable enough for the grappling to really stand a chance against Khamzat on the ground. And two, I think DDP is a better striker than Khamzat, if I'm going to be honest. Like, the fact that he beat the crap out of Sean Strickland, and Sean Strickland is just a specialist in striking, and he didn't take him down at all. He beat him on the striking game. And when you go back and watch that fight and you watch the Israel Adesanya fight, one thing DDP did a lot was kicks. He throws a crazy front leg kick. Like, he stands in a conventional stance, and his favorite kick to throw is like the left high kick, which is your front foot, which to me is kind of wild. Most people like to throw their rear foot to go for head kicks. There's a lot of power generation there, I think. I wouldn't know. I can't throw my leg that high. But that's what feels comfortable for me whenever I just kick my heavy bag in the garage, and it just in its midsection. But he goes for those head kicks, and he's quick with them too, and he can go to the body too. And I think he'll have a lot of success with that, with Khamzat being so tall. And if if DDP's game plan is to not drag this guy into the depths of the championship rounds and then just absolutely have his way with him, then he's totally missing the point of this fight. Unless Khamzat has fixed his cardio. But if I am DDP's team, my initial thoughts are, okay, I'm going to play heavy defense in the first 2 rounds minimum, because Khamzat has shown to gas out. He showed to gas out in his fight with Gilbert Burns that went more than 1 round. He showed to gas out in his fight with Kamaru Usman, because he just goes so hard in that first round. In the first round, Kamaru Usman, it literally was I think within the first minute or so, he had got him on the ground, and they were just going and going and going. I think the whole time they were on the ground. They considered it a 10-8 round, I believe. But when it got to the 3rd round, Usman just started having his way with him, piecing him up. And he still kind of moves around like he's still got energy. But when you watch him and you watch the things he does, he really is just completely gassed. He's almost like faking it in a way, because Usman just kept popping him 1-2. The right cross was having a lot of success. And then at one point, Like right before the third round, Hamzat's coach was like, you have to wrestle here. Do anything you can to get him to the ground. You have to wrestle so you win this fight. And they're standing up. Usman's having a lot of success. Usman goes to throw like a head kick. He slips, and he's pretty close to Hamzat. But Hamzat was so exhausted, you could see him just like, I'm not even going to try and go for this, when he really had the chance to just like jump on him and do what he does best. But I don't think he had any energy to do it. So Usman was able to get back up. They kept going, but then Hamzat was able to like shoot for a takedown, like super, I don't want to say last minute, but it was like used all his last effort, all his energy to try and like throw this last takedown, and he got it, and he had a lot of success on top for a long time. And then Usman was able to get up, and then they just started throwing. And I really think that Hamzat likes to brawl. He showed that in the Gilbert Burns fight, and he showed that in the Usman fight, like where he just wants to throw hands and just get crazy. I think he just doesn't really care about the game plan that much when he's into it. So I'm really excited because if DDP, if they can get into the third round and on, it's going to be a really fun. I think it's going to be a really entertaining fight. Again, I think DDP's gotten a lot better. He is just a master at the blitz, but not in like the MVP and the Wonder Boy karate style blitz. He literally just runs in and he throws one punch with his head down that is just like incredibly distracting. And he did this a couple times to Israel Adesanya, and I think this is how he ended up getting Robert Whittaker out. Is he throws that punch and he gets the guy to kind of go backwards, and then he just throws the next one and just lands it perfectly almost every time, even though it's like he's not even looking. But I think this could be a really fun fight. I think it could be a really good fight. My current prediction is that, and my hope, to be honest, and I'm gonna go with what my heart's telling me, to be honest, because I'm kind of on the DDP fan train as much as I hated him last year. I just really want to see I want to see Hamzat get tested. I want to see Hamzat go into the deep waters. I want to see him in the championship rounds, because it's like we got the fight with Gilbert Burns that went to 3 rounds, went the distance, and the same thing with Kamaru Usman. And those were like high-level guys, and I'm not saying that the past guys he's fought aren't high-level. The Robert Whittaker one was really weird, with the whole neck crank. For any of you that didn't see that, Hamzat immediately came, shot on Robert Whittaker, got him in the rear naked choke, and got his forearm right over Whittaker's jaw like this, and then just started neck cranking. And apparently Whittaker has had issues with his bottom teeth, and they literally just cracked and folded inwards. Like the 4 front teeth on his bottom jaw just folded into his mouth, and he immediately started tapping. So that was just crazy, because I'm like, had that not happened, would Robert Whittaker have been able to get out of it? Because he's been pretty good about submission defense, and he's been really good about wrestling, you know. And so that was a really interesting fight. And then I'm trying to think, like Kevin Holland, that was a last-minute fight. But Usman, it's like Usman's a top-level guy, and like DDP's a top-level guy. And he's the champion right now. So it's like there's a lot of potential that it goes further than the first round. A lot of people think he's just going to come out and do his thing and just like sprint at DDP and just go for the takedown, and that's what I would do if I was him, because that's where all his energy is. Like, use all your energy right there. If you're that good at grappling and that good at submissions, use it all there in the first round and hope you can get it. So, but my prediction is that I think that Hamzat is going to have a harder time with the wrestling than he thinks he is, or that most people think he will. Most people think he will. Good grief, tongue twister there. No, that was just a normal sentence. I'm an idiot. But I think if DDP can get out of the first 2 rounds, it's going to be a really tough fight for Hamzat. And I think DDP will probably take it from 3 to 5 if they go that far. So I am really excited about it. Hamzat hasn't been in the ring for a while. DDP hasn't fought since February. So it's going to be a really good fight. I'm really excited about it. I was kind of curious. I used ChatGPT earlier to see like kind of what I had like heard things about Duplessis and like his accolades, so I went and looked at it. 2012, he was a WAKO Junior World Champion. I think that is kickboxing. Lots of UFC stuff. EFC Middleweight Champion, EFC Welterweight Champion, KSW Welterweight Champion, World MMA Awards 2024 International Fighter of the Year, ESPN 2024 Submission of the Year. Really? Anyways, so really not that crazy of accolades. Like when you compare him to Israel Adesanya, which he beat him. But yeah, I'm really excited for this fight. I think it's going to be a good fight. But let's just go ahead and look at the rest of the card. I'm going to point out some fights that I think will be good, and don't really care about the others. And I'm not even going to try and pronounce some of these names. The early prelims, nothing crazy there. Karine Silva, she's pretty good, kind of up and comer. I think she lost her last one though. Brian Battle will be a fun one to watch. I don't know what this guy's name, how to pronounce this guy's name from Uzbekistan, but he's been really good. He's had some really good fights, and so is Brian Battle. So this will be fun. Barboza versus Klaus, that will be a really good fight. Lightweight fights are always bangers, always. I don't remember the last time I saw a lightweight fight that wasn't a banger. Then we have Chase Hooper versus Alexander Hernandez. That will also be a banger. Chase Hooper is X's favorite fighter right now, so he's getting a lot of love. And he's on a winning streak right now. He's doing really well. He's kind of fought two older guys back to back. That's all right. But he's been doing really well. Love to see him on the come up. Alexander Hernandez has been in the UFC for a while, kind of like a journeyman-ish. But I haven't seen him fight in a while. I feel like the last time I saw him fight was maybe Drew Dober, and Drew Dober kind of beat the piss out of him. Jessica Andrade versus Lupe Godinez has the potential to be good, but the women's fights are honestly just a toss-up almost every time. This middleweight fight, Gerald Mushart and I don't know how to say his name, and then Macau, that should be a really good fight. I can't remember which fight I watched Macau in, or Michael, I don't know how you'd say it, but this guy from Poland, he looked incredible. But he got the crap beat out of him by Magomedov, the pirate guy. So we'll see how this. I think he's actually on a losing streak right now, so he really needs this win. Gerald's he actually got annihilated by Hamzat some time ago. First round knockout, killed. So that should be a good fight, to be honest. And then I don't know either one of these guys in the middleweight. That's the prelim main card. Then we get into the main card. Got Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura. Asakura, for those of you that don't know, just fought for the belt in the flyweight division and lost in the second round. I say just fought. He actually hasn't fought since then. Fought Alexander Pantoja. He came over from like a Japanese fight league where he was the champion for a really long time. Came to the UFC. His first fight was for a championship fight, which is kind of crazy, but in the flyweight division, there's really not a ton of great fighters. So, and then Tim Elliott is just an OG. He actually fights out of Frisco, Texas, which is close by, so that's really cool. So that should be a pretty good fight. We'll see kind of how Kai actually matches up with these UFC guys after immediately getting a title shot and then immediately getting choked out. So, but Pantoja's he's on a different level. He is a pound for pound great right now. So he's getting up there with Mighty Mouse. I mean, I think Mighty Mouse has like, I don't even know how many defenses, 13, 17, something crazy like that. So this should be a really good fight. Tim Elliott is super scrappy, really scrappy. So it's going to be a fun fight. And then I'm really excited for this one. I didn't know this fight was happening until I looked at it last night. Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. This is going to be really interesting because Jared Cannonier is a kickboxer. Michael Page is a karate-style guy. Michael Page had a lot of success so far in the UFC. The only fight that he has lost was versus Ian Gary, and there was a lot of clinching in that, obviously intentional by Ian Gary. He was doing a lot of wrestling because Michael Page doesn't wrestle. Jared does not wrestle, so this should be a high-level striking match, and I imagine – I'm surprised they don't have the odds up yet, considering we're like 2 days out. But I imagine MVP, like – He beat Magomedov, which is crazy. The pirate. I don't know why I can't think of Shara Bullet. Magomedov. Shara Magomedov. The one-eyed pirate. He beat him, and he is an insanely high-level striker. So it'll be really interesting. I think his style is just like really unpredictable with that karate-style, point-style fighting because he's able to get in and get out, and he moves off to the side, and it's really difficult. But Jared Cannonier is an OG, man, and he's kind of been on a losing streak. I think he won his last one versus RoboCop. Yeah, so he won his last one versus Rodriguez. He lost versus Borgelio, which that was an amazing fight. I need to go back and watch that one. Kind of an early call here, but it probably would have happened anyways had it gone on further. But with Imavov, for those of you listening and not watching, But yeah, I think this has the potential to be a really good fight, or it could just be very one-sided by Michael Venn and Page. I'm not doing very good with my predictions on how I think things are going to go. I know how I want them to go. I can tell you how I want them to go. I want Jared Cannonier to knock out MVP, because I think MVP is just like, I'm going to be here for as long as I can be successful. Like, Michael Venn and Page has been in the combat sports game for a very long time. Like, he's been fighting in Bellator. He's fought in PFL. He went and fought in bare knuckle boxing, and actually got beat by Mike Perry, which is crazy. Pardon me. But I think he's kind of just like, I'm here. I don't really care about championships. I'm just going to keep fighting and keep getting paid and have a lot of success. And once I stop having success, then I'm not going to really care, and I'm going to move on. So hopefully that's a really good fight. Next fight, we've got Jeff Neal versus Carlos Praetis. Pretty upset about this one because I like both of these guys a lot. But it makes sense. Number 11 versus number 12. Carlos Praetis just lost to Ian Gary. Jeff Neal, I think, won his last one. Let's go check. Yeah, he won his last one versus Rafael Dos Anjos, lost to Machado Gary, and so did Carlos Praetis, which is kind of crazy. And then he lost to Rakhmadov. And Rakhmadov, that was a great fight. I would love to see that rematch. So I think that one's going to be a good one because Praetis just came off a loss. Jeff is on the come up, and he's really hunting for that title. Like, I don't think he's a journeyman type at all. I think he is like, I want the title. I want to fight for the title. I think I'm the best in the world. And I think he's got a lot of talent. And his fight with Rakhmadov was amazing. And Rakhmadov is kind of the standard in the middleweight division right now. Welterweight division, sorry. And then, notice how I scrolled up barely to see what weight division that was. And then Carlos Praetis, I just freaking love this guy. How can you not love this guy? He's a fan favorite, ripping cigs all the time. Almost took out Ian Gary in the 5th round. That was a really interesting fight, but this is kind of tough. I imagine Jeff Neal's going to try and walk Praetis down, get him up against the fence, do a lot of clinching, and Praetis needs to just keep him his distance because Praetis is about as wide in his length than he is tall, and he's like 6'3". So should be a really interesting fight. If I had to make a prediction on how I think it's going to go, I think Praetis is going to be able to keep him at distance, and if he's able to walk down Jeff Neal, then that's going to be a tough fight for Jeff Neal. Really, Jeff Neal has got to be walking forward and trying to get into his guard as much as possible. So then we've got Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico. I am immediately biased towards Aaron Pico because he trash-talked Volkanovski and was like, yeah, I can knock that guy out. Bro, this guy came from Bellator, and I'm not hating on Bellator guys. Like, good on you, but that's the B-Leagues. Michael Chandler has been a great example for how much that's the B-Leagues. Like, he's 2-6 in the UFC or something like that. Let's see. Let's recount Michael Chandler's loss. Even though I'm not connected to Michael Chandler, but I know someone who knows him, if that makes sense. Or I know someone who knows him. So there's kind of like almost a connection. So maybe this will get to him. And then my buddy met him one time at a basketball game. But let's see, he beat Tony Ferguson. That was really fraudulent. Who did he actually beat? I can't even think about. Oh, Dan Hooker. Yeah, that was a pretty lucky knockout. Then he lost to Dustin. Then he lost to Justin. Then he lost to Charles twice. So, yeah, I don't even know what that is. I wasn't counting. I got CTE. Anyways, Bellator guys have not been doing good. Like, Pitbull came in on his first fight. Almost did nothing. He did win his last fight versus Dan Ige. Super close fight. He's gaining a little more confidence, so that's good. Good for him. But Aaron Pico talked that trash, and now I'm like, Lerone Murphy, get after him. And Lerone's like, I think he had one draw at the beginning of his career in the UFC and has been winning ever since. Super high level, really high level. And so I haven't seen Aaron Pico fight, but I imagine Lerone Murphy is going to take it. So should be a pretty decent co-main event. And then, yeah, we get to the middleweight bout. The odds are pretty dang close, and I like that a lot. I'm glad that it is not a drastic underdog for DDP, and it is not a heavy favorite for Chimaev. Austin, you just called me in the middle of this, so if you're watching, don't ever call me again in the middle of this. And no, I don't hate you. I love you. You're my brother. Yeah, I'm really excited for this fight. I'm genuinely excited for this card. I'm excited for this fight. The UFC has just done so much better. They've just done so much better this year. And I don't know why this fight excites me so much, but earlier this year, like at the beginning of the year, I probably would have just skipped this card. I would have wanted nothing to do with it. Would have been pretty uninterested. Like I didn't even watch Ankalaev versus Pereira, and I love Pereira and I love Ankalaev, but I was just like really disinterested in the UFC. They weren't making good matchups. They were having a hard time just like gaining interest. So I think they're starting to get it back a little bit. It's kind of a weird future for the UFC with kind of the rankings and stuff, but the new guard is coming in. Like this is a prime example. Hamzat versus Duplessis. Like the new guard is here. You know, we've got Ilya, he's at the championship. Merab, he's the champion. So these older guys are kind of working their way out. How Edson Barboza is still fighting is beyond me. What a beast. And same thing with Jose Aldo. Good Lord. Can't believe that guy's still fighting either. But we're never going to see Conor McGregor again, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you think. I don't care how many training videos he posts. That guy's done. That guy is done. There's no reason for him to come back and just add to his CTE when he's made millions and millions and millions of dollars. And he is just... this guy's on a bender like no one has ever seen. This is like a world record bender. For years, this guy's been on a bender. With all of the cheating allegations and scandals that we've seen, all of the drug abuse, all of the drinking. Oh my gosh, he is just such a character to watch. It's hard to stop looking. It's like a fiery car crash. It's just so fun to watch. And you want him to come back. But if he comes back, oh my gosh, dude, he's going to get freaking wrecked by whoever he fights. Except for Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler's going to get knocked out by Conor if he comes back. But ever since the Dustin fights, like, I can't remember who said it. Maybe it's Chris Weidman or, I don't know, somewhere in an interview was just like, no, it was Matt Brown. Freaking love Matt Brown. He was like, Dustin took Conor McGregor's soul. Like, after those two fights, Conor was just like, all right, I don't got it. And an analogy I used to use a lot back when people were like, Conor's going to come back, Conor's going to come back. And this is when I really shifted towards not being a Conor fan and started to be like a real Conor hater, if I'm being honest. Was like, he took so much time off after winning the belt and after these fights. Like, he missed the Nate Diaz 3 fight. They missed that opportunity, and it just makes me so upset. But in his time off, in his absence, really, like, I'm going to try and, let's see if I can do this correctly with my camera angle. If you're not watching, I've got my hand up on one side of the screen, and if this is all of the UFC, and then this is Conor McGregor, and they're moving along the timeline, Conor just was light years ahead of the other lightweights and all the other fighters, right? And then he stopped, just came to a complete stop after he won the belt and after the Nate Diaz fights, and then the UFC just kept going. All these guys just kept getting better and better and better, and Conor just stopped. Like, Conor was just light years ahead of those guys in the striking department. And that's why he was so good. But then all of those guys caught up. They caught up and they surpassed him. And the fights with Dustin were a great example of how guys in the UFC just got so much better while he was out. And so he came back and some new things started showing up, like the leg kicks, that he was not prepared for. And that was his demise. And so it was just, I don't know. I don't want him to come back. I'm like, why should he come back? He's not going to do anything for the sport, right? Like, it may be some kind of super fight or whatever, but I don't know. I don't know what kind of super fight you put together. Like, Nate Diaz is done. If Conor wants to go to boxing, that's fine. He keeps talking about doing bare-knuckle boxing with Mike Perry, but I don't know, man. Who knows what's going to happen with Conor? But UFC 319 this weekend. Pretty pumped for it. We'll probably do a reaction podcast of the aftermath to see what happened. But yeah, hopefully going to get back on to more of a regular schedule here. I'm really excited about what's going on with heavybaghero. Been working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Got some things coming out, and I'm really pumped about it. And hopefully, you know, my goal is not to just be exclusively and strictly UFC and UFC memes. Like, a part of my mission, if you will, to give it some background, I got into a wreck earlier this year that really kind of took me out of my fitness game. And I had like a lot of plans for the year. I was planning on trying to do another half marathon and try and beat my previous best. I was going to do half marathon for the Spartan race. I really wanted to do like the full marathon or more for the Spartan race, but I'm going to try and do the 10K if I can prepare for it. But after the reg, just like a lot of my fitness abilities just kind of went out the window because I wasn't able to work out as much with some of the injuries I sustained. And it just took a lot from me, but we're getting back. We're getting better. And I've just really like, I don't know. I kind of want this to be more of a brand that's like an inspiration of community and an encouragement of community, which is really hard to do on Instagram considering Instagram comments. I am very fearful of them, but I don't want it to just be memes and UFC and just trying to, keep up with every card and stuff like that. I want this to be about lifestyle stuff, life stuff, whatever it may be. Fitness stuff is really important to me. And Heavy Bag Heroes is more than just boxing. It's more than UFC. Being a Heavy Bag Hero is just like, hey, you're not ashamed of what you do and you get after it, right? Like, I love going and hitting the heavy bag in my garage. It's super fun. It's a great workout for me. It's good for my mental health. I'm not ashamed of it, but it's like, you don't got to be doing these massive feats, and I think that's something that's lost on Instagram is everyone's like, oh, I have to be doing these massive feats. I have to be doing the Leadville 100. I have to go try and fight in the UFC. I have to do this. I have to do this. When it's like 98% of the people on Instagram are just like normal everyday people who just go to work every day. They want to work out afterwards. They've got fitness goals or ambitions, or maybe they don't. But I'm hoping that Heavy Bag Heroes can be something that can kind of inspire that, right? Like, there are plenty of people who have run half marathons and they've run them way faster than me. I know people who run half marathons way faster than me, but that's a goal. That's a goal of mine. That's a dream of mine, is to run a faster half marathon and continue to get faster. And lifting goals, whatever those may be. I haven't been super into lifting recently, but I do still have aspirations of trying to get to a 315 power clean and trying to get to a 270, 280 snatch. Or, I would love to get back to a 600-pound squat and a 600-pound deadlift. I don't really care about bench. Bench is for jocks, and I'm not a jock, I don't think. But, yeah, I'm just working on the direction of this, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. I still want it to be kind of like UFC. I still want it to have UFC content. It's for the everyday guy who loves fighting but is just not a fighter, right? That should be the slogan, right? This is a brand for guys and gals who go to work and they have fitness goals, they have fitness ambitions. Maybe they go to jiu-jitsu, maybe they go to a boxing or Muay Thai class, and they don't really have any aspirations to go any further with it, but it's good for them. It's good for their mental health. I would love to get back into jiu-jitsu. I did jiu-jitsu for 6 months, and that was just unbelievably fulfilling. But due to the nature of my job, I really couldn't do it anymore, just time-wise. So I do other things, right? I hit the heavy bag in my garage all the time. It's great. It's a super great workout whenever I'm not wanting to tax my CNS and just absolutely obliterate myself under a barbell. I'd rather just hit the heavy bag, get some cardio in, and get a good sweat on. And it's fun. Gets out some aggression from the workday, right? And so, just kind of working on a direction, but I want it to actually represent, and I want it to actually mean something. I don't want it to just be I don't want people to think I'm just trying to do this for a cash grab either. I want it to actually be something. I'm working on things that are a year or so from now in the future, right? And I don't know. My ultimate goal is to make it some sort of community that is able to celebrate each other's wins, right? And celebrate each other's goals and push each other, right? I get really inspired by there's a guy who, I can't remember his name, Matt something, on Instagram. He ran across Texas, and I will never run across Texas, but I'm man, I would love to just test myself, right? I would love to test myself by being can I run from Van Alstyne to, I shouldn't have said where I'm at. Anyways, can I run from here to Howe and back, which is I think it's a 20-mile run or something like that. Or could I do the David Goggins 4x4 by 48 or whatever that is? I can't remember if it's 48. Anyways, just some sort of challenge, right? And I think it's important to do that. Test yourself. Test where your fitness is at. Test where your mental fitness is at. And we'll kind of see where this goes. I've written a lot of programming in my life. I've been working out for, I don't know, since I was 13, so 15 years, and it's a really important part to me. But there are things that I've like done a bunch of different programs, and I've like found things I've liked about them. I found things I haven't liked about them, and that's when I was like, all right, I'll just start writing my own programming. You know, it's pretty basic, it's pretty simple, and it's a lot of general physical preparedness, right? It's not like crazy CrossFit stuff. You're doing bar muscle ups and you're doing this and you're doing that. It's like very minimal, pretty minimal equipment, but good workouts that really test your general, you know, physical preparedness, right? For whatever life throws at you, right? And one reason I've been getting into running is because I think running is like a general physical preparedness thing you need to have, you know, other than just being able to squat a ton or deadlift a ton. Like, it's great if you can do that, but if you can't run away when, you know, something bad is happening in downtown Dallas, like that's tough. That's tough, bud. And if you can't help people get out of a situation, you know, because you're completely out of shape, like, hate to rag on this person because I'm not a person that likes to rag on people, but there was a video that circulated Instagram one time where a lady, like, didn't have her car in park. No, sorry. Let me stop there. She was getting something out of her car and she didn't have the brakes on her child's stroller, and it started rolling down the street, and she went to try and run after it, and just immediately fell. And I was like, when was the last time she ran? You know what I mean? Like, I think it's, for me, my personal philosophy is like, you need to be fit, not just for yourself. One, I think it's great for your mental health, but two, it's like, you should be fit to be able to help. If you're in a situation like that where your baby's stroller starts rolling away, good Lord, I hope you can run after it after it's going into a busy street, right? And it's just simple things like that. And there's always like, I always tell my dad this, and one day I'll get to him, and my brother. But I'm just like, it's never too late to start, right? It's never too late to be the fittest you've ever been, unless you're like 99 years old. But like my grandpa, he is, 84, I think, and like he's still, I don't know if he's running anymore, but he still goes out and like goes on 5K walks. Like, he was doing 5K runs, you know, just a couple of years ago, right? I can't remember how old he was when he did a half marathon, but it had to be about 10 years ago, so maybe 74. He ran a half marathon. And yeah, just like, it's never too late to start. You know, physical fitness is just so good for the body. It's so good for the mind. It's so good for the soul. And so I could go on and on about that, and that's kind of what I did in the last episode I recorded. I got a little too deep, a little too vulnerable, a little too personal for you guys, and I'm not ready to get there yet. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm hoping it's I'm kind of working behind the scenes. I say I added my brother to the Google Workspace, but he doesn't do a thing. He just tells me if merch looks good or not. But yeah, I want it to like, actually, I want this to be like, I want this logo, and I want Heavy Bag Heroes to be like something people are like, yeah, dude, I'm a Heavy Bag Hero, you know? I'm proud to be a Heavy Bag Hero, but we'll see where it goes. We'll still keep a lot of the UFC content, and just like, but in kind of the most casual format as possible, just for the casual guy. We're not going super hard in analytics. Like, I've been watching UFC for probably 15 years. And so I will get a little more like, oh yeah, this fighter needs to do this. And that's just from my own thoughts and opinions. I'm not even a fighter. I'm just going based on what I've seen. And so, yeah, we'll keep it going. I'll hopefully get a podcast in next week, reviewing UFC 319, talking about the good, the bad, the ugly. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Follow me on Instagram. Sorry, don't follow me. Follow Heavy Bag Heroes on Instagram at Heavy Bag Heroes. I think currently it's MMA, but it's going to change to Heavy Bag Heroes, just Heavy Bag Heroes. Same thing on Twitter or X. I think my handle on X is at Heavy Bag Hero, and then I have the account Heavy Bag Heroes as well. Follow me there. Follow me on YouTube. I think I'm going to try and do a lot more YouTube content in the future. I'm going to keep doing video podcasts as well. Yeah, that's just the standard at the moment. So hopefully as well, I'm going to be able to get some of my buddies on this who love to talk UFC, who love to talk fighting and fitness and life. And hopefully it'll be some good stuff. One day I'll be able to convince them, and it'll be a good time. So thanks for tuning in. To pay attention next week. We'll probably have another one coming out. But UFC 319, 9 p.m. Saturday, Central Time. All right. Peace. Peace, blessings.